Good afternoon. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's a thing we want you to tune into every Saturday afternoon. I'm Elsa McGee, your host, and I'm here today with my co-host and riding partner in crime, I should say, because we're gonna rock Fulton County up this year. We got some issues in Fulton County that we need to deal with. We got some issues in the city of Atlanta that we got to deal with. We got a lot of issues that we got to deal with. But let me just start off, Tony, with telling folks that this Supreme Court, we watching this Supreme Court. This Supreme Court is doing some stuff that ain't never been done before. And it ain't all democracy. Is not from where we stand. Especially when it start taking away personal liberties, when people got personal rights. We don't talk about that much, but I want to start us to reminding each other that we served in the U.S. military, where you had the military code of conduct. You violate that oath if you want to, you got a problem. The first thing, be late, AWOL, right? You can be 15 minutes late. It might cost you some of that little pay you're going to get at the end of the month. So we know what it is to follow the rules of law. And we know what the consequences are when the rules of law are being broken. And we know this too. If you let one person or one group of people be above the law, that the law don't fit them. They are able to do whatever they want to, come up with whatever defense that they want to come up with, and it works. They are not held responsible for their conduct. We need to talk about that because, see, this year, Tony, we got one of the, I think this is probably going to be the most important election in the history of America. Yes. Because the state governments, this Supreme Court, and I'm going to go back to the good part of this Supreme Court, has put state rights back into an issue, right? State rights. Now, I want you historians to go back and look at what state rights did for. We need to check these states because they have always been radicals. We got to remember how they came together in order to survive. They didn't come together because they wanted to be in a loving bond, but they came together because they did an invasion in America. They didn't discover America. We need to get all the history right, and then we'll be able to understand where we come from. But it is what it is, and that's the way of the world. But we got to think about what we're going to do this coming November. We need to make sure that these people that are in charge of the states, that's doing all the gerrymandering and voter restriction or voter suppression legislation, that we don't need that. That gotta go. So we got to make sure that we are voting on the local levels, especially the state level, where you got right now Georgia is ready to be go blue. It's ready to go blue. But I ain't gonna talk about that too. But it's ready to go blue because right now blue is the best color we can see in the flag. It's the color of freedom. And we need to understand that blue is a color of freedom. Red is blood and tears that we have shed for this democracy. We need to understand that veterans, had it not been for our service from the Revolutionary War on down to what we're about to go into now. Yes. And we're about to go into another war. Don't be deceived. When you start talking about sending planes now, you done sent ammo and artillery and ground stuff. But now you're talking about sending airplanes. That's entry into the war. Yep. That we done left the advisory stage that we always go in first and look around where they know that these people, in order to stop Russia. Now this is the same Russia that we've been fighting ever since I can remember. Yes. So we got to understand the influences of Russia have showed up in America in the last. I say last 10 years. Yeah. Like I never seen it before. We got show hosts that that talk right wing stuff because we got a lot of Russian money in this country. You know, a lot of it. You know, and it has been able to influence our daily lives through putting war weapons in the streets of America. You know, we got war weapons. Now we talking about automatics that I used in Vietnam. You know, I saw these are war weapons, and they are in our communities, killing our children and our elders in churches and schools and grocery stores. And we veterans need to look up. We need to look up and see. This ain't about color. This ain't about party. This is about this country. It's about our democracy. It's about the system of government that we serve to protect and to promote. Because now we got to remember, if we don't have the system of government, all the privileges, all the things that we have taken for granted, the freedoms that we can talk back to our politicians and not disappear. You know, you know, all these things we take for granted. But believe me, you cannot trust people that won't tell you the truth. You cannot trust people that got an alternate reality that they want to deal with when you looking at the facts that you got 18-year-olds able to go buy a war weapon, even though they got mental issues. Go buy a war weapon with enough rounds to kill a village and kill 19 children and 2 teachers while the police stand in the hallway scared to move. See, the police need to just stop playing. They are afraid to face these automatic weapons, and they need to speak up. They need to stand up. It's not fair for us to send them to work every day facing these automatic weapons. They're not going to just rush into it. We done seen it with our own eyes. They're not going to rush into no stuff. They're not combat soldiers. You know, we had to rush into it no matter what. You know, we had to go up in there. You know, and it wasn't important to, you know, hit this side, bust them doors down. We got an enemy on the other side of the wall. We got to take them out. But we seen that the police that we cry so much about, that they say the good guys with a gun is the best thing for a bad guy, the good guys were scared. They didn't do their jobs. They're not military. Understand that. Understand what a veteran is and what they give to this country. That's why we got the Sons of Atlanta, Tony. Let me let you talk about that. I done got back on my podium and my preaching.
Well, I'm going to stand just on the side of the podium and everything. But what you're saying is so true as to where we find ourselves in our country today, particularly with these weapons that we're finding on the street. That yes, you got to be 18 to purchase one. But once they're in the house, anybody within that household has access to that weapon. And so as a result, therein comes the challenge of somebody younger than that having access to that weapon and possibly taking lives. And so for that reason, you can sort of understand the fact that the police are concerned, I'll use the word concerned, about what they may encounter when searching for someone who supposedly has a military style weapon. A war weapon. And so therein you can understand, because like you said, these policemen of the day, they weren't in a war. They have not, most of them have not served in a war. So as a result, you have people serving in the country facing those kinds of weapons that aren't familiar with how they can do the amount of damage they do. And they can do a lot of damage. So as a result, that's where we find ourselves today, particularly with the police. And then you always have, shall we say, people in authority who sign bills within a particular state, ours included, that allow anyone to obtain one of these weapons without a background check, without a competence check as to whether they can actually handle the gun, or the fact that are they stable enough. And so we have those challenges, and so I can sort of understand how the police are concerned about the fact of what they're going against. They have absolutely no idea. So that therein lies a challenge. But, you know, one of the things we can do, and everybody can do, we can go out, vote, and elect officials who are going to pass bills and laws that will put some control over access to those weapons to people that aren't mentally stable or old enough to even understand the power and the disaster that those particular weapons can cause on a body. So, you know, that's what we're dealing with today.
And you know, what bothers me, Tony, you're saying, you're bringing it down to what we need to be thinking about. Who we voting for?
Yes.
We got to vet these folks. We got to make sure that they are they want the same type of community, the same type of government that we have and that we are going to be. This is a multicultural society now. Yes. You know, people got to be able to accept that differences don't mean, you know, worse or less or better. You know, we're all one people, and we got to be able to understand that. But we got people that we have elected or allowed to be elected in our governments. And I'm saying our government because it belongs to me now. I take personal this government. I take personal the city of Atlanta government. I take personal the Fulton County government and the state of Georgia and the U.S. government. These governments are my governments.
Yes.
They govern me.
Yes.
They govern my family. They govern my community. And I need to make sure that they're governing in a way that's good for the community.
Yes.
You know, this is Veterans Talk now, y'all. We're back now. I know last week I left Tony up, man. I'm trying to call in. I couldn't listen. But you know, God is good. I'm gonna tell you, I'm back, and you know, I'm feeling better today because I'm not bleeding anymore, and I'm up and moving. And I want to thank Tony for what he did last week with the show. I'm calling his friend out, so he got to come back on the show because you know, we want to hear some more from him. Because what this is our platform. This is the platform where veterans are talking to veterans and the community. We are here to share information, to give encouragement, and to tell you what we do as a group. Now, we're a group, we're an organization. This is just one of our programs. This show here is one of our programs. Every day we work to make sure that veterans are getting their benefits from VA. You know, and buddy, that's a task. Because you got so much. Listen, I've had people go out to the VA and they get people file stuff for them that they ain't even eligible for, and they get caught up in owing the VA. I mean, seriously, we got to be careful about who we allow to in our government functions. You know, these people that we elect, they hire people, they don't vet the people that they're hiring, so they got a lot of people that's incompetent. So if you go knock on their door, they'll beat you up. Right at the VA. Right at the VA now. I'm not talking about nowhere strange. Everybody's seen it on the news. They're so incompetent. They're so insensitive that they shouldn't even be working for us.
Exactly.
They shouldn't even be employed. There are too many good people out there that are willing to work, that need to work, than to have these kind of people employed in our governments. You know, you got somebody employed in the VA that'll jump on a veteran that come out there for services. Now, you know, we ain't finna go to the poll and elect nobody that's gonna stand for that. So all these state representatives, all these people that work in the governments in City of Atlanta, Fulton County, State of Georgia, and the United States, they're going to the poll in November. We need to meet them there. Veterans need to meet them there. And we're going to just send this out to them. They can come on the show and talk about it because we want to know what you're going to do other than go up there and party fight. We don't care whether you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. If you're not doing the job that you were elected to do, you need to be replaced. You know, you need to be replaced. So we're tired of this bickering and toxic politics that we got in America. You know, we got people that won't even let a bill go to the floor.
Yep.
So that means that my senator ain't representing me.
Yep.
He done stopped the senator from representing me. Folks, listen, we got to look at November and turn it around. We got to turn it around. I'm talking about on every level of government. And I'm telling you, the best way to go at the parties. Because right now, that's who's running the country.
Yep.
You know, these parties, they tell my elected official what to do and what not to do. I wish they could get up on the military code of conduct for a minute.
but the other thing about that is they need to be aware of the fact that veterans are the largest voting group in the country. We will get out and vote, and they need to realize the fact that there are a lot of subjects and topics and things that are happening in this country that veterans aren't happy with the way they're going. And so what we're doing, we're going to vet those people running for office, and if they are for things that aren't for veterans, then they won't get our vote.
Yeah, period.
Yes.
End game. End game. They need to understand this, because see now, I'm just as serious about this as I was about not ever being late for a duty call. You know, never being late for a duty call. Yeah, I have never been late. I never got an Article 15. I never got a remand when I was in the military because I obeyed the orders.
Yes.
I took the orders. I followed the orders. And we got elected officials take an oath just to tell a lie.
Yeah.
You know, we cannot keep this up. We cannot keep this up acting like we don't know no better. They treating us like we don't know any better too. You know, they coming to the table telling me what they're gonna do for me, and ain't even talk to me about what I need.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, and then setting up and getting and listening to me, and then when they get it into their administrative network, the whole thing changes. It goes right back to the same old soup. Won't know. Veterans are being denied citizenship.
Right.
We're being denied the citizenship that we fought for everybody else to have. You know, I'm thinking about issues. Now, let me say this about the Supreme Court, though. I want to get back to that, because the Supreme Court took a case. I know all, and I want you to run tell everybody. Everybody that's listening, go tell somebody else they need to start listening at the show. Because the Supreme Court just took up a case that could make sure that everybody that's been service connected get back pay to the date of discharge. Can you believe that? That would be almost like reparation.
Yes, really. Reparation for the military.
For the military.
For the military service.
For the military service. The Supreme Court has taken up the case, and now you know that Supreme Court. Let me say we better watch that Supreme Court, because we don't know what it's going to do.
Right.
You know, it's a constitutional issue here, though. For veterans now. This is Constitution for veterans. Because if you're service connected, it come from your service, it should start from the day you was discharged. It should start from the day you was discharged and became disabled, not able to pursue the American dream. To do the things that you was fighting to make sure that everybody else could do. I'm gonna watch this Supreme Court. I want everybody else to stay tuned with this, because it's critical that we see what this Supreme Court. And now we got to look at this Camp Lejeune stuff too. Now I don't want y'all to overlook that, because you got two things going here with the Camp Lejeune thing, and we seen it with the Agent Orange movement. The lawyers get more money than the victims. You know, and we want Congress to make sure that doesn't happen with the Camp Lejeune veterans. You know. During the time when Dow Jones was trying to pay the veterans off, $200 or $300 million that they got, most of it went to attorneys. And the other veterans died and didn't get nothing. We got to make sure too that Senator Warnock and Ossoff know that Agent Orange and Thailand statute bill that's in Congress now need to be amended. You got 40 other locations throughout this country that need to be in that bill, that need to be recognized, because veterans are being denied the benefits that they've earned because they wasn't exposed in a location that's recognized.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they know the stuff was there,
Yep.
they know the veterans had to come in contact with it, but because the VA and the government hadn't recognized it as a point of exposure, veteran can't get his benefits.
Yeah.
We got reason to go to the poll.
Yeah.
We got reason to come together as a community, veterans and their supporters. You know, we need to let these people know we can determine the outcome of every election in this city, county, state, and federal government. Mm-hmm. We have that power because right now, the people, so many people, other people done got just fed up with the politics. They don't even. Some people don't even believe in the vote no more because they think that the riffraff that we done allowed to surface in the government can done took over.
Yeah.
No, they ain't took over yet, but they getting there.
They're trying.
They getting there because if we don't stop them this year, that means that state rights are back in control. I want y'all to go back to the history of state rights. We can't overlook our history and think it won't repeat itself. You know, because what we've seen now is throwing it back in the states where all the state governments have been so controlled by one party that they done set up where they're going to keep control forever.
Yeah.
You know, that's not the way the democracy is supposed to work. The majority wins.
Yeah.
You know, we got to accept that. I love having elections. So the people that ain't performing the way we want them to perform, we need to get rid of. But what we done did, we done let them frustrate us with the drama.
Yeah.
We didn't let them frustrate us with the drama. So rather than us looking at what they're doing and saying you fired, you know, they take one out, take a page out of Trump's data book.
Yeah.
You know, he need to be fired. He was fired.
Right.
He don't even want to leave the building.
Yeah.
He was fired and don't want to go home. Yeah. Listen, escort him off the premises, right? Get him off the premises, and I think he violated some laws too.
Yes.
So he need to take him down there and fingerprint him. You know, he need to be fingerprinted and mugged, just like I was when I committed a crime, when I went against the system.
Yep.
You know, that's what you're supposed to do when you got somebody breaking the law. Don't nobody want to sit up and watch him break the law and wait and say, how long is it going to take to break it?
Right.
This is veteran stuff, Tony.
Yeah. But you made an interesting point that brought a thought to mind for me. And that is, yes, there is an election. But when you go to vote, there's more than what is at the top of the ballot. Those people that are making those decisions that personally affect you are down ballot people. The people at the top, yes, they make the major decisions, but those decisions that directly affect you are down ballot people. That's why it is so important to go early. That ballot is available to you way before the election day. And look at that ballot, go down that ballot. Who is this person and what is that title? What do they do? And once you find out what they do, you're like, I need to vote for it, or I need to find out what this person's opinion. You know, it is an unfortunate thing that they no longer have civic classes in school. Because I can remember, and I'm gonna take you back, 1963, 64, 65, I can remember going to civic classes where you learn what those people were doing in those different offices, and you found out that a lot of the stuff that directly affects you is the stuff that is in your state. So when he says states' rights, when it kicks back on the state, those are the people that are going to make the decisions that are going to directly affect you. And as a result, you need to know who those people are and vote the people out that aren't doing things for your benefit and vote the ones in that say they're going to do. We don't know until they get in office. And once they get in office and we find out they aren't doing, guess what? They will come up for election after 4 years, and then guess what? Replace them. But the thing is, we need to educate, we need educated voters. And that's something that we don't have an awful lot of now, where people are actually doing the research on these people that are running for office. And then we end up with a bunch of yahoos making major decisions that affect our lives.
You know what I miss, Reverend Love?
Yes.
Amadeo.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I got to raise that veterans. That was a veteran that knew what you saying, what you talking about
Yeah.
now, Tony.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to get Joe Coyne on the show too.
Yeah, right.
Now, Reverend Love, I mean, you know, may you rest in peace, brother.
Yeah.
We miss you. But you taught us a lot about what Tony is saying now, and we got to be able to understand this. We're allowing to happen. We're allowing people to symbolize change and not do change.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking about the VA process and what I personally went through because I thought that, well, it was time for me to file another claim. I've been service connected since 1984. Was wounded in combat in 1968, so it took me 16 years to get service connected. And in that 16 years, I had to come out of my disability situation and go before the U.S. Senate Committee on Veteran Affairs.
Yeah.
How you hold this? Hit this.
I think it,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, I just called, man, to give a shout out, man, for the, you know, the 5th anniversary of the Decent and in Order show, man. You know, we grateful for y'all, man, and we thank you.
Well, thank you for calling. Who we talking to?
We talking to Arthur Floyd, man. I'm close friend of Carlos Grown, man, Poor.
Okay, well, thank you for calling in. Thank you for doing that.
yes.
All right.
Yes, what we're trying to do here is make sure that we get a conversation started around the kitchen table, because we ain't got that long.
Right.
November is not that far away.
November is tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yes.
We got to make sure that we're talking to our children. You know, you know, those that, you know, I got a word on my hand, but I'm gonna talk to them because they're mine. You know, they all of them ain't gonna listen, but they gonna hear. You know, I mean, because I'm gonna put it out there. We got to go to the poll this year and vote these scoundrels out that's trying to change our government to be something that we don't. I ain't never. Well, I was born in segregation, so I know what Jim Crow feel like. You know, I mean, I understand what, you know, discrimination feel like before I went into the military, and then I had to go through. Being that first wave of integration is in the military, so had some fist fights in the barracks, but we still got along because we had a reason to. We came to understand that we was in it together. We didn't have anywhere else that we could go and be lawful at that point. Because if you left the military, you AWOL. They're going to first catch you, put you in jail, then they're going to discharge you with a bad discharge. So you didn't have nowhere to go because the law commanded you to be there. We learned that we are better together. You know, we had to rebuild, and people don't know the history of this, but veterans had, the modern day veterans started in 1954. That's the modern day veterans started. When I say 1954, that was when the last so-called colored unit was deactivated. And once it was deactivated, that meant the U.S. military was fully integrated. And being a fully integrated military, that means that we had some problems because the society wasn't fully integrated. All of us coming out of segregated communities. You know, the whites, the blacks, the Hispanics, everybody was living in their own separate segregated community. But the minute I got to Fort Benning, Georgia, where I started basic training, I looked around and people in the barracks just staring with me didn't look like me. I had to make some immediate mental adjustment to this new reality that came upon me as a young man. Now, I'm really totally confused now because they had nobody to tell me how to deal with what I'm facing. You know, but the military code of conduct made it possible for us to do it. It made it possible. I mean, I think about that how stiff that thing was, but it gave you some guidelines that you had to follow in your conduct. You know, and then part of your conduct is what you say to folks,
how you say it too.
How you say it. Communication was, and still we still don't know how to communicate. You know, we still don't know, but we learned how to communicate and show respect for each other And we understood that, yeah, we had some differences, but we had more in common than we had differences.
Mm-hmm.
And so we was able to, as young men, show this country how to integrate.
Yeah. Yes,
We
we
had to
did.
show this
Yep.
country how to integrate. And we did. Look at the U.S. military.
Mm-hmm.
It is the best integrated part of our society, and it's the most effective
Yes.
part of our society today. That don't mean it's perfect. You still got some issues.
Yep.
But it's one of the most integrated, diverse communities in our country today.
Yeah.
And these young people know how to get along and respect
Yeah.
each other.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You don't see all that drama. You know, yeah, we got some problem with these suicides. But these suicides are a direct result of the country not being able to address the problems they created.
Yeah.
You know, the VA was designed to address these problems, but it's failing because it's to become an adversary force against veterans rather than a ship to bring them to a safe harbor.
Yeah.
We got to be able to understand that what the VA is, it was this entity created by Congress to facilitate and expedite the benefits that
Yeah.
was set up for us for our military service. If all veterans got
Never tied it to the military. I never tied it. But then, after doing the research, Googling on those locations, there were locations in Puerto Rico where Agent Ernst was tested. I did not realize that.
Yeah.
You know.
and see the other part that you didn't realize that you can still get the benefits.
Yeah, yeah.
See,
yeah.
the problem is that we ain't got nobody doing what we're doing now, trying to educate our community about these benefits,
Right.
and how to get them.
Yeah.
You know, it is a shame that we depend on what we get from the VA. You know, we go out there and get misinformation, get beat up if you knock on the wrong door. Get beat up if you knock on the wrong door, so you can't ask too many questions because they got attitudes because they're incompetent.
Yeah.
I'm saying that, and I ain't saying this about all VA employees because I'm a former VA employee, and I know you got some good people out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you got a good, but they're stranglehold them. They got them pent down up against the wall, and you know. But I had to shout out to Dr. Cooper.
Yes.
And, some of them other people out there, man, that break their butts.
Yeah.
But that's what veterans do now, Dr. Cooper.
Yeah.
That's what veterans do when they get in a job. They make sure that they're looking out for the community that they serve for.
Yeah.
So Dr. Cooper, I have to take my hat off to you, brother. So I'll be calling up on you soon too. But we got to recognize what VA is and how we got to start using it. You know, we were trying to get some money from Fulton County to help us address the homeless veteran issue in the city of Atlanta, and we thought we had it because they stood up there and said that's what was going to happen. Got down to the administrative process,
Yeah.
a cold wash.
Yeah.
A cold wash, but they didn't wash us too far because we still in the water.
Yeah.
And Rob Pitts, we want to see you. We want to talk to you about this commission because we not finna give it up to this way it's being done. Because it's not being done the way you said it was going to be done. Period. And we're not going to ignore it. We're not going along to get along here, y'all. See, this is what we got to be able to do when we see stuff going on in our name, like thank you for your service, and getting beat up at the VA.
Yeah.
You know, that ain't thanking me for my service. You know, I don't want to see no veteran beat up.
Yeah.
Let's know the Vietnam vets, you know, because I know this guy got to be 70 years old.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be 70. You want to beat up
Yeah.
a 70-year-old for knocking on your door, asking a question?
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I've always felt should go along with that, thank you for your service. Now, what can I do for you?
What can I do for you?
You know,
Yeah.
it's my job. I'm at the VA. You know, thank you for your service. Now, what can I do for you? What do you need done? What do you desire? It's not always what needs to be done. What do you